Rev up your engines. It's time for ScottyKilmer.com. When a customer comes to me with a car that has an engine with a leaking head gasket, I tell them they have two choices. They can either have me pull the head off of the engine and replace the head gasket and any other damage that's done inside, or they can try putting a sealer into the radiator and hoping that fixes the leak. No, I don't mind taking the engine apart because that's a big job and I'll make a lot of money. But some people don't have that kind of money lying around these days. Replacing a head gasket on a modern-day car can cost well over $1,000. So sometimes my customers opt to try a sealer, and in that case, I use Steel Seal. Now, it's a little bit more complicated than just pouring it into the radiator, so I'm going to show you how to do it correctly. To begin with, you want to have clean coolant in your radiator. If it's dirty, flush it out and put in new, clean coolant. Then you want to take the two bolts off the thermostat housing and take the thermostat out. With the thermostat removed, the sealant will flow better and have a better chance of sealing the leak. So you just bolt the thermostat housing on without the thermostat inside it. Now this Toyota head gasket leak is using a lot of coolant, so it's a good idea to check all the spark plugs to see if any of them are burning the coolant. So take the spark plugs out one at a time and check them. Pull them out and look at them. And in this case, the number 2 spark plug is covered in antifreeze. Now, the other 3 spark plugs were fine, so we know the leak is at the number 2 cylinder. So here's a trick I do all the time to help the sealer work better. I leave that number 2 spark plug hole empty with no plug in it. And I also unplug the number 2 fuel injector so it doesn't fire. I get the Steel Seal and pour it in the radiator. Then I start up the car. Now, it's going to be making a lot of noise because there's no spark plug in the hole. But that keeps the pressure out of that hole so the sealer can work better. Then you let the engine idle for about half an hour and let the sealer do its thing. Then after half an hour of running, shut it off. Then let the engine cool down for about half an hour and repeat this process 4 or 5 times. And when you're finally done, let it dry overnight with the spark plug out of the hole. Then the next morning, put the spark plug back in and take her for a spin. Now you want to baby the car the first 100 miles of driving after using the sealer to give it a better chance of setting itself up. And in this case, the sealer worked fine. There's no more head gasket leak. Now unfortunately, some head gasket holes are just too big for any sealer to work. But in many cases, I feel that it's the best first option. Because tearing down an engine is an expensive job. And I've seen Steel Seal work in many cars that I put it in over the last 2 decades. And remember, if you've got any car questions, just visit ScottyKilmer.com. And I'll answer them as soon as I get back from this ride.